So April was a terrible month. I had spent so much time and effort in March to try to get our food budget together, and everything just fell apart in April. So let's go ahead, break it down, and get into it. So every month I started tracking everything that we are spending. I don't write down our bills because those are more fixed. And the reason why I like to write it down is because when I scroll through my bank app, like I can see it, but it's not really adding up and meaning anything to me. And then also when I divide it into categories on the bank app, the categories don't really align with kind of how I organize things in my head. So for my expense tracker, for our main categories on our attempting to have a low spend, but you can clearly see we didn't do that. These are the categories that we really spend in. So we have groceries, eating out, shopping. Shopping can be anything that I think is like unnecessary. So like here I have Christmas lights. Anytime I go to Home Goods or something like that, where if I buy something that isn't like glassware or plates that's specifically for the house that we need, I put it under shopping. Life. So that's pretty much anything like dishwasher tablets or birthday party gift or something we needed for the house, like a toiletry or a household essential. I'll put that under life. Fun is, you'll see here that I have lunch. That's the only thing there, so we can talk about it really quick. So instead of counting this lunch as eating out, I met up with my friends, and instead of like, we don't like go shopping or go to the movies or anything like that. So I count that lunch as my fun money. Home improvement's a big one for us. And then obviously I have YouTube and I'm trying to do my small businesses. So that's all part of that. And then our son Cade. I don't include his medical bills in here, or the large ones at least. Like I don't have his hospital bills in here. And he has a new expense that we'll get into in a little bit. But like the smaller ones, like he had a physical, he started physical therapy, he's done with that. That was only $15. So I put some of that in there. But this is really just me keeping track of formula, toys, and clothes. And this is really just so it's kind of interesting to know how much he spends on formula. Although I don't care what, if we spend $1,000 a month on formula, that's what we're going to do. That's what he needs. This is really just for me to not get out of control with buying him toys and clothes and things like that. This is really just being mindful of like, okay, he has what he needs. We don't need to keep buying outfits at Target. So that's really what that tracker is for, and just a more of a curiosity thing. This is never really going to have like a constraint on it until things get like way more expensive. But yeah, so obviously you can see here our overall spending is really not that bad. Like our son only cost us $300 and that includes his formula. So that's really not bad at all. My business, like the $99 is actually an annual fee, so that's really not that bad either. 171 for the house. So we got paint and flooring. Our flooring was going discontinued for the kitchen, so I really wasn't planning on doing that, but we had to get it finished, and it does feel really nice to have the flooring done. So we spent more on that than I really had intended. And paint, I painted the primary bedroom. So I thought I was really just going to be like $50 for the month, but then the flooring thing came up. I already said I count fun money as going out with my friends. And then life is a little bit more than it normally is. Let's see. I have a lot of stuff going on every Saturday this summer. So lots of birthday parties and baby showers and just hanging out with friends in general. So this category is probably going to be a lot just in general. So we got cups. I wanted to get some plastic cups. I have glass, but my son's starting to smack some things around now that he's getting to be 8 months. So I wanted to get rid of our glass and get plastic. I needed a larger pot, so I've been cooking with heavy cream for creamy chicken and rice. And the cream kind of tends to bubble up and overflow. So I wanted to get a pot that was taller just to kind of keep that from not bubbling over and cleaning the stove all the time. And I had been getting by with these like Dollar Tree kitchen rags, but they were basically plastic. They were like a very strange polyester that were not absorbent at all. So I switched to an all cotton one. We have cat food, which isn't bad. That's not even a monthly expense for us. Baby shower, obviously, you got to contribute to that. Dishwasher tablets. This is a really great deal because I actually got over $40 worth of dishwasher tablets for $18. I had two coupons that I was able to leverage. So this will be dishwasher tablets for at least 6 months or so. So that was a really good deal. And then a birthday gift. So not too bad in the life category. Life just kind of happens. So I never really get too upset about this because these are just kind of things that life throws at you. It's really this category. Honestly, these four, like I can get, if you'll let me, like I'll just keep going for my business and YouTube. So I really have to watch out. I have like a million ideas I could run with. Same thing with the house. Like I'll just keep going. Like I have to manage myself with that. We're really not too crazy on fun because for us, fun is this, which we'll get into here in a second. We're not really, our son's too young for us to be going to the movies all the time, and we really didn't do that too much anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Like, our fun is pretty much going and getting sushi or something. It's not really going out and doing entertainment. And now with our son, like my concerts and stuff like that, I'm not really participating in any of that. And shopping's gone way down since I stopped going to Walmart. I just do Walmart pickups, and the shopping actually for me gets really crazy during the holidays. I get really excited around fall and Christmas. That's when I like to do a lot of trinket shopping. Spring and summer, I'll do a little bit here and there, but Christmas and Halloween is really where I'll get super into trinkets and want to go to Home Goods and do all that silly stuff at Hobby Lobby and Michael's and everything. So in general, I don't buy a ton of clothes, and shopping isn't in general too difficult for me. So, and the Christmas lights are those smart puck lights that Amazon had on sale. I'm a little bit hesitant to, just because we have a 2-story house, to put them up and then they break. But if I can find a pole that would make it easy for me to stick them up, I would risk it. I just don't want to pay somebody to come over and mount them for me just for them to break pretty easy. So I'm still working through that, but they were 50% off, and I was going to buy like the $1,000 ones at one point. So $26 felt like just a throwaway opportunity for me to get that and try to stop thinking about the $1,000 ones. Now, the crazy thing is the eating out. I hate myself right now for all of this. Like, I had worked so hard in March and we spent, I think, less than $200 eating out. And then this month, I got really caught up in making my apps and work and just other stuff that there was lots of moments where I was like, I can't cook, or I don't want to cook, or my brain was just obsessing over another project. I feel really guilty about that. I feel like I slipped up. And then I actually have another video coming, either the next video or the video after this one, where I'm going to plan for failure. So, one of the things I want to do is have 4 meals. I think at least 4 meals for me and for my husband that are in the freezer. And they're like good quality homemade meals. I know in the past I've made shepherd's pie that my husband can then throw in the oven. For me, I eat really simple. So, I can make a couple pre made pastas for me, and that would be so easy. And basically, when we have moments where I'm obsessed with the project, or I don't want to do it, or I don't want to cook, or I'm tired, I don't feel good, or have my period, or whatever, I've planned for the failure, and it's not driving us to go out and eat. So that's kind of the plan for that, to drive this down, is just give myself some grace, forgive myself, even though, I mean, stuff like this really does like set you back when you're trying to change your finances and move in another direction, and you have slip ups like this. Like, $200 can really change the momentum of your budget. And I know that, and I know I'm better than this. So, but it's done. We did it. I really want to, I need to get in the habit of writing down the expenses every week. Usually, what ends up happening is I'll do like the first week or so, And then the middle of the month, I'll kind of like not do it because I feel like I have it in my head. I've already like written down the first week or so. And then that middle of the month kind of gap where I'm not writing it down and I'm getting tired and things like that. And that's really the part that where I start to slip up. And then for whatever reason, you can see here, I literally apparently went to the grocery store what looks like every day. I don't know how, I don't know why. I know there was at least 3 or 4 times where I just forgot stuff during my weekly haul. I was trying to do stuff off memory instead of getting down the kitchen and looking. Sometimes I'll do my grocery hauls when I'm laying in bed, and for the most part, I do have a pretty good inventory in my head of what I do and don't have. But clearly, in April, that was not the case, and there were multiple times where I forgot something. And then obviously, when you forget one thing, you go in there and something's on sale, like his gluten-free Cheez Its were on sale, so I grabbed that while I was in there too. Or I think at one point his gluten-free cookies were on sale, so I grabbed that. And then one of the things that I won't be mad at that's part of this, which I think it was this $82 one, the salmon went on clearance where it was about to turn, but we freeze all of our meats. And I got like 17 weeks worth of salmon all this month. So at least out of that $800 worth of groceries, about $80 of it was for salmon for a couple months. So at least there's that. I have that going for me. But otherwise, nobody needs to be going to the grocery store this many times, especially when you're trying to be intentional and you're making grocery lists and things like that. Like, this is just silly work. So it's definitely something that I want to be working on. And then you'll see here this $40 gift card. That's kind of planning ahead as well. I got a coupon for $10 off a $50 gift card from this gift card website. So I decided to get a grocery one to help me do better in May. And so I got a $50 gift card for $40. So that's what we're looking at on here. Like I said, I'm going to try really hard to start planning for failure. I want to have those meals in the freezer, and I will get a video up about that in the next couple of weeks on how I'm going to be planning for failure. But let's go ahead and get into May's expenses and budgets. So I was able to make some progress on a couple of my adjustable bills, which was great and felt really great. But unfortunately, that didn't really amount to anything because our adjustable bills actually went up $1. We added two things. My son needed a prosthetic helmet because he has a flat head, and that his deductible is $2,000, and we haven't needed to go to the doctor for him at all this year. So his our insurance didn't cover it, and that was $1,200. That was kind of unexpected. I really thought that like the insurance would cover something on it. So I wasn't really expecting a $1,200 bill for that. And we have care credit. Paying cash for it would have kind of put us a little bit in a bind, and I didn't want to do that. And we have care credit, and it's interest free for 6 months. So unfortunately, that is the path I decided to do. I know everybody will have their own opinion on it if that was the right thing to do or not, or paying cash for stuff, but I just didn't want to be in a bind. We were just in a bind a couple months ago, and my husband got in the car accident, and I really don't want to go down that road again right now, especially with his back still kind of being in pain. He just got injections 2 weeks ago, so I feel like I kind of just need to be prepared all the time for his back to go out and maybe have to miss some work. So that's just the route I decided to go. And then unfortunately, we did have to add one other thing, but that will only be 2 payments, and then that will be over. So by the end of May, the one we added will go away. But unfortunately, the helmet will be on there for at least 6 months. But hopefully, we can make some progress with some of the smaller ones and still drive that number down. But while we did increase our adjustable bills by $1, we were able to decrease our fixed bills. My husband's Jeep has needed a repair that we haven't been able to get to, so I finally decided to take it off insurance. So that saved us $150. So that at least helps us kind of cover the helmet a little bit in terms of monthly cost. I'm hoping once we get the backyard done, we had to submit for the HOA for that this month. And once the backyard is done, hopefully we can turn our attention to the Jeep. But we're not in a hurry for it because he does have a work vehicle. He doesn't even really use the Jeep, and because of how much gas it takes, I work from home, so we essentially have the same days off. So when we're running errands and stuff together, he takes my car and then he'll go out for a D&D and he'll use my car for that as well just because the gas mileage is better. So there's really not like a high pressure need to get his Jeep repaired, even though we do want to do it just because, it would be nice if it was running and well taken care of. So hopefully we'll get around to that soon. But the priority is really getting our adjustable bills down and getting the backyard finished, and then hopefully we can get that done. But that's really the main difference what changed here. Otherwise, all this is the same as last month. We don't have the quarterly bills, which is nice. I don't have my annual business license, so last month we had the business license came due for I think $300, and then our quarterly HOA, which was $250. So that was $550 that came through that we don't normally have. So I guess the quarterly one is still pretty often, but having them both at the same time was kind of rough. So definitely going to work on that for next year. And then what's nice about May is my husband is expecting 3 pay periods. He is taking the week of Mother's Day off. So we are expecting a little bit of a lower check probably on this one just because that will have his PTO, so no overtime on it. But at least we get the boost in income, and our expenses for the month are $7,164, and we should make $8,200. So I actually should have some money that I can plan to save in June and put that aside. And hopefully, I figure out a plan for my backyard to go from what I thought was going to be $10,000 all the way down to about $500 or $600. So let me know if you guys are interested in seeing a video on how I plan my backyard to go from $10,000 all the way down to $500 or $600. I might just make that anyway to see how it goes. And then I did our groceries are $500, eating out is $200. I increased our life budget to $300 because it's Mother's Day, and I am going out to see a lot of friends this month. It just happened that I have a lot of people on schedule. One of my friends is moving to New York, and one of my friends that we only get dinner or lunch every 6 months reached out, so we're gonna do all of that. Fun money. I increased that a little bit because I know my husband needed to pay for it was his rotation for his D&D food, and that's usually about $50. And home improvement, like I said, we got to start on the backyard. So as long as I get the approval this week from the HOA, we're going to start buying gravel and seed and stuff. $50 for the business because I have a couple of subscriptions, and then around $300 for baby because we're still doing pretty good on diapers, and I just did a clothing rotation for him. So I don't think we should really need too much there, but we'll see how it turns out. This is what May is looking like. Hopefully I don't report back to you guys and we see the complete embarrassing mess that April was, and we're actually making changes. And I really hope to see in June, with that leftover income from the 3 pay periods, that we can actually talk about savings and what I'm going to do with that money and what we can do to start driving this number down. So if you guys watched all the way to the end, I really appreciate you being here. If you have any budgeting tips or struggles that you're going through, comment below. I would love to start up a conversation with you, talk about it, and any advice that you guys might have. And I don't know, I mean, like, I try to talk about it as much as I can. I just, talking about all these adjustable ones and what they are. Most of it right now is medical. There are some silly ones on there that just we shouldn't have done, but we did, and we just got to correct for it. But we'll see. Maybe in the future, as some of them start going away, I'll feel more and more comfortable sharing what those are. And maybe you guys would have advice on how we can make it better. But if you guys track your expenses, I'd love to know how you do it. And again, I appreciate you staying here to the end of the video, and I hope to see you guys soon in another one. Bye, guys.